Hello everybody and welcome to another video. This is definitely not a second take. In today's City Transport Simulator, we're doing something a little bit different, and what I mean by different is I have a sheet of paper in front of me. I'm hoping you heard that. That was cold. It's too cold in the UK to use anything as a fan. But I'm going to be going through features that are confirmed for CTS and features I would like to see in CTS. So, let's get into it. Feature number 1, which is confirmed, is ticket selling. This is going to be brilliant. It feels at the moment a little bit pointless driving a bus, picking up people, but them not buying tickets. And what I hope happens with this ticket selling stuff is either you can turn it completely off if you don't want it off, you can have it where they just pay contactless, or you can have it where they pay cash and contactless for tickets. And what I meant by contactless was like a little Oyster card. You just boop on the machine and on you get. Now, I hope that with this, they add some time into the timetable, because at the moment on routes in CTS, they just give you the time for driving, because that's all really the game is. You just drive at the minute. You go from one place to another place and you drive. It's a lovely simulator and a wonderful simulator, but I hope they'll add time in to the timetable so that you can keep up to time and you don't run minutes late just because they haven't done the timetable properly. Now, although I'll speak about one of my hopeful feature that I'm hoping will come a little bit later that sort of intertwines with that. A second feature that is confirmed is passenger comfort, like air conditioning and heating. This will be brilliant. At the moment, there isn't really a sense of customer satisfaction or dissatisfaction. You can sometimes brake too hard or crash and they'll complain, and sometimes you hear them say morning, but like they don't really speak and they don't really get annoyed with you or they don't really get happy with you. But I would love the ability for you to get feedback based on your smoothness on accelerating, your smoothness on steering, your smoothing on braking. I don't know if that's what's meant by passenger comfort. I doubt it, but that would be nice to see. But with air conditioning and heating, it will be nice to keep the passengers cool or warm, depending on what time of year it is. Obviously, it's, from speaking to Melbourne train guy as this is filmed today, he said it was boiling hot in Australia. In the UK, it's not freezing cold, it's just cold. So yeah, obviously. And the third feature that is confirmed is the ability to open windows on the bus, the driver window for every bus. I'm hoping that you can also open the passenger saloon windows, because that would be a method of cooling. Say for buses that don't have air conditioning, the ability to just open up the windows will cool the bus down as you drive along. Or it should do anyway, in theory. But those are all the features confirmed for CTS. I am very excited for them. The one I'm most excited for is definitely got to be ticket selling. But let's move on to a bit of, not speculation, but features I would like to see in City Transport Simulator. We have number 1, and these are in no particular order, by the way. Number 1, weather customization. Because right now, the only conditions you will drive in are night, sunrise, sunset, daylight. Nothing else changes. It changes how light it is or how dark it is, but there's no rain, mist, fog, snow, ice, or just anything like that changes the drive or adds to the realism. Because imagine driving in icy roads, getting those buses up to 70, coming up to Industry Strasse on an icy road and thinking about your braking. That would be awesome. And just something that livens the game up and makes it feel more real. But as of version 1.4.0, I'm making this video, you can't do that. The second feature I would like to see is express routes. At the minute, when you go from terminal to terminal and create a bus route or a tram route, you have to stop at every single stop on the way. I would like to see it where you don't have to stop at every single stop on the way. You could stop at a handful of stops, or you could stop at none of the stops, just to create a faster bus route. Because sometimes you'll have a bus route that goes from one destination to another destination, say for example London and Brighton. That's quite long for a bus route. But anyway, say if you had a bus route from London to Brighton, and then you'll have an express route from London to Brighton that only stops at those two stops, whereas the first route stops at quite a few on the way. I would like to see it where you could just create a route and go from one point to one point and no stops in between, or some stops in between, but not all of them. That's what I would like to see, because you do get express buses in real life. I am doubtful that this will come to CTS because we have trams in the game. And most of these features I'm saying are for CTS bus, by the way. But yeah, we have trams in the game, and they are sort of express versions of buses, really, or higher capacity buses. So if you wanted a faster journey, if you wanted a more express journey, in theory, you'd just take the tram. But it would be nice to see express buses too. But that's just my take on that. And the third one is the ability to save routes as drafts. So at the moment, if you haven't got enough points to make a route, you can make the route, but you can't activate the route. And you'll save it as a draft until you have enough points and you can fully create it. I would love to see that all the time, permanent feature, because sometimes, a bit like City Bus Manager, you can create the route, but you can create it without activating the route. I would like to see that in CTS, because as soon as you create the route, you activate it, so you have to put buses on it. But if you have the money to make the route, or the points to make the route, but not put buses on it, like I have with a few of the routes I've made, you don't want to do that. You just want to make the routes and add buses to them later. So that would be great to save them as drafts, or save them but not activate them. And yeah, that would really help to create routes and then decide maybe you don't want them later, or to try them out, or just have it there so you don't forget it later down the line. Feature number 4 I would like to see, and this one comes from Melbourne Train Guy. We spoke on Discord, not on a voice chat, just in the CTS section of his Discords, so make sure you go join his Discord. And he said the ability to spawn on foot, and I am adding to that passenger mode, because CTS has collectibles on the map, but the only way you can see them is by spawning in with a bus in a service and going around and looking for them. I would like to see it where you can spawn at every stop or every terminal on foot and go around and look at the place and try and find the collectibles, much with Melbourne Train Guy, which is why he suggested it. And then I'm adding to that passenger mode. Because if you wanted to go and look for all the collectibles, you might find a collectible at Holtbahnhof and realise that there's a collectible at Blunen that you haven't got. So what you do is you hop onto the Route 101 and go to Amblunen. The Route 101 is a route that starts with the game. So you hop on the 101 to Amblunen, and there you are. There you can go find the collectible, and then you can go on a different route. And yeah, to me, and to Melbourne Train Guy, which is why he suggested it, that is a great feature. If you haven't subscribed to Melbourne Train Guy already, by the way, make sure you do it. It's an amazing YouTuber and a very talented creator. And moving on to feature number 5, the ability to add waiting time at all stops. So at the moment, you have the ability to add waiting time up to 5 minutes, between 1 minute and 5 minutes at the terminals. So, say for example, the 101, you could add 5 minutes at Holtbahnhof and Amblunen. or you could add 5 minutes at Hauptbahnhof and 1 minute at Amplunen, or the other way around. I would like to see a possibility to add 3 minutes, 5 minutes at every single stop. Obviously, you wouldn't do it every single stop, but I've created a route which is 49 minutes long. I've not driven it yet, but I've created it yet. I've created it at the minute. And 49 minutes is a long time. You could easily lose 10 minutes on that run. So I would like to be able to, 25 minutes into the route, add 5 minutes waiting time, or add 3 minutes waiting time, or just a certain amount of time to wait. And then you continue on your journey so that you can either catch up to the schedule, catch up time, or if you're on time, just sit there and wait 5 minutes and, stretch your legs, as bus drivers would. And that sort of intertwines with the ticket selling, and I'm hoping they add that to the timetable, because you would need to add time at stops to sell these tickets. So yeah, that is one feature I would definitely like to see, and that's one I would like to see made a priority. Feature number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wheelchair users. Just to help liven up the city a bit, make it feel real and make it feel like a live place, which it already does, much better than Bus Simulator 18 and Bus Sim 21, and most of the cities in Fernbus, not all of them. But add wheelchair users to the game. Having to get out of the seat and pull the ramp out, and then letting the wheelchair user on, putting the ramp back in, getting back into the seat and driving off. Something that costs you a bit of time, but you get them on and you do the same thing when they want to get off. And in addition to that sort of a feature, 6.5, they would have to add wheelchair users pressing the bell. A quick press of the bell and they get off. Someone's just started with fireworks. I hope that doesn't get too loud. But yeah, that would be nice to have wheelchair users, because it just adds to the realism and the sense of immersion that you're in a real place. And a lot of wheelchair users do rely on public transport. Trams, buses, trains, all of it. But feature number 7. You see how we've just gone from 6 to 7, like 6, 7? A livery editor. When you go to spawn in, you can pick which vehicle, which livery you want. Say you want the Tramau livery, you want the purple livery, you want the cyan livery, or if you want the basil livery theme. I would like to see it where you could edit the liveries for individual vehicles and add advertisements which earn you points, maybe. A bit like Bus Sim 21, how they generate revenue, and same as Bus Sim 18. I just hope they actually make the wraps look decent, unlike those two games. Or the ability to add decals. Like, say you have a route, I don't know, I'm going to use one of Melbourne train guys' routes, for example. The 37 from Am Weidense to Suji Nakamura Platz. The ability to, I don't know, put the numbers 37 on the side of the bus and then have it in text. Am Weidense to Suji Nakamura Platz on the side. I knew I was going to butcher that. I didn't butcher it in the previous attempt at this video. But yeah, the ability to just have that on the side or any form of decals would be amazing. Even custom logos, just anything. It'd be nice, and it'd be nice to do it per vehicle as well. And feature number 8. The ability to change routes at terminals. So say I'd done the 101, sorry. I went from Hauptbahnhof to Amplunen and back to Hauptbahnhof. But I've had enough of the 101. I'd like to change to my custom route 200, which goes from Hauptbahnhof to Bosbahnhof and does a little circular. And then when I get to Bosbahnhof, I get off and get on the 100 from Bosbahnhof to Hauptfriedhof. And then, just constantly changing routes so that every time you change route, you don't have to go back to the menu, and it's almost a bit like Train Sim World 6 route hopping. That would be a really nice feature to see in CTS, and I would love for it to come to the game. Would absolutely love for it. Another feature, for me, that's important, fleet maintenance. So, buses aren't new always. I bet some of the IRL new Man Lion cities have had their bumpers ripped off, headlights broken, indicators broken, I bet some have even been written off, and crashed and damaged. And I'm not talking to that level of extremity, but just some level of fleet maintenance, because those new mainline cities came out in 2019? Some of them will be old, and that's for every single bus in the game, by the way, not just the new line cities. But the ability to have to maintain your fleet, and yeah, maybe it costs a certain amount of points for each vehicle you have. Maybe it costs 1 point per vehicle, or maybe it costs 1 point for the MAN and half a point for the new line C because they're newer, and then maybe it costs 2 points for the Graf's tyres because they're older, so they'd wear more. And then second to that is this needs to be a feature that can be turned off, by the way, for people that don't want it. Having a random chance of breakdowns. Buses will show signs of wear and tear, and things will break on it. Could be the engine, could be the gearbox, could be general wear and tear like headlights, indicators, windscreens cracking, or brake lights not working, reverse lights out, punctures from hitting the curb too much like myself, stopping bells not working, broken air conditioning, which goes back to the feature of air conditioning and heating. It'd be nice to see those as well. And yeah, bus manufacturers wouldn't like this, and I've put that in brackets. It would be hard to implement into the game because the bus manufacturers would be so against it. But, maybe because of that, because of the fleet maintenance and vehicles getting damaged, maybe you should have spare buses and trams. Maybe, if you have 60 buses, you need to have 10 spare. And then another feature from that I would also like to see is have buses and trams get involved in collisions and get damaged. I'm not talking anything extreme like, oh my god, this bus has crashed and the driver's died. That's way too extreme for a game, and we've got to remember the age limits. But say you might get a little email. Man Lions A47 number 2 has had an accident where it failed to stop in time and bumped into the back of a car at the red lights. No serious harm done, no injuries caused. However, the front bumper was damaged, the headlight was broken, and the windscreen was cracked. You know what I mean? Like nothing extreme, but just something that adds that sense of realism and immersion, because buses do crash, buses do get involved in incidents. People are only human, people do make mistakes. And just because those mistakes are massive doesn't mean that they should be punished any more harshly. Obviously, if it's a little bump, then yeah. But if it's a serious collision, then obviously it needs to be treated more harshly. But that's besides the point. And another feature, and this is the biggest feature I want for CTS, invite-only multiplayer and crossplay. I would love to be playing on my own company, I would love to be playing on my company and invite Melbourne Train Guy in from the PlayStation. And, we'll then do routes for my company, and then we can go and do routes for his company, or his career mode, or his sandbox mode, or whatever it might be. But I hope this doesn't get difficult because, for example, Melbourne Train Guy has the new Man Lion City DLC and the Depot and South Route add-on. I don't have either of those, so I'm hoping it wouldn't block me from joining him if this was a thing until I bought the DLC, because we didn't have the same amount of DLC. A bit like what Eurotruck does, I believe, with mods, which is a bit more fair with mods, to be fair. But do you know what I mean? I hope it wouldn't limit us. If there was multiplayer implemented, I would hope it wouldn't stop us from playing together. And this would be a multiplayer much like Bus Sim 21, Bus Sim 18, and the bus. Although I think the bus is public lobbies, so not the bus. But just invite-only lobbies. The ability to just play whatever. Do you know what I mean? I'm not talking like Croydon levels of just whoever you want is in and idiots just drive everywhere. I'm not talking that because that was probably the worst part about Croydon for me. But just the ability to have one or two people driving around in your company and just feeling like a community and, just playing CTS with your mates, that would be awesome. And that would be my favourite feature if it was ever added. But if you want to see more videos like this, let me know. Comment down in the comments. And I shall see you all next time. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what features you want to see in CTS. I shall see you all next time. Goodbye for now.